By setting amp control, the saw's computer will control the cutting speed of the arbor to maximize the efficiency of cutting. By adjusting the x-axis speed to maintain a target amperage, the Yukon II can automatically compensate for variations in stone hardness and cutting depths, allowing for unattended operation. Amp control works by maintaining a constant amperage draw over the motor's idle amperage draw. For example, if the amp control limit is set at 6 amps and the amp draw over idle is just 5 amps, the machine will increase the x-axis speed until an amp load increase of 6 amps above idle is reached. Conversely, if the arbor is drawing 6 amps over idle and the blade encounters a hard spot in the stone, the amperage may spike to 7 amps over idle. The amp control will decrease the speed until the amp draw falls back to 6 amps. To set amp control parameters, start at the main menu and press the amp control key. Enter the amp limit set point. The amp limit is the target amperage that the Yukon II will adjust its speed to maintain. The typical range to run while cutting is 4 to 8 amps above idle. This value is based on the capabilities of the blade. Start with 6 and observe how the blade is handling the speed, and then adjust accordingly. The Detect Above Idle setting determines at what point the machine will engage amp control. This setting should be between 0.1 and 0.5, depending on the depth of the cut. Thin material or shallow cuts require a lower amp setting, such as 0.1, but 0.3 is a good setting for most work. Enter the x-axis entry speed. This is the speed at which the blade will approach the stone prior to engaging amp control. This should be set relatively slow, between 4 and 6 feet per minute, to prevent the blade from crashing into the stone. Let's enter 5 feet per minute. Enter the x minus maximum speed. This will limit the speed of the x minus movement, whether or not the amp limits are engaged. This is typically set at a slower rate, between 4 and 8 feet per minute. Note, this setting is only used in stone. It does not affect flyback speed. Enter the x plus maximum speed. This is a limit placed on the speed of the x plus movement, whether or not the load amp increase has been reached. It's typically set between 10 and 12 feet per minute. The actual speed of the arbor moving across the cutting surface will be limited to this number even if the amp limits are not engaged, for example, as the saw passes out of the stone. Now you've entered your amp controls, the point at which these controls are engaged, and the plus and minus speeds at which the saw will move. You're ready to move on to amp control cutting.